Week 2. Today we got up early and went to Lake Louise. After a quick hike to the top, we arrived at the tea house. We drank some tea and then went back to the camper. After this stop, we drove towards the Columbia ice fields. There wasn't really a camping, so we stayed at a parking lot close to the glacier. This was one of the best spots because we were close at a small pond and we had a beautiful view at the glacier and the mountains. I also tried here to do some night photography. The next day we walked towards the glacier. It wasn't that spectacular because it was during summer, but with the sunrise it was still very nice to see. After that, we rode a pass that had a lot of waterfalls. We saw Tangle Creek, some waterfalls. After all the waterfalls we saw, we drove to Jasper and stopped at a campsite. Well rested but vastly fatigued because of the hiking towards the air tram. Finally on the mountain, it was cold and very windy. We couldn't see far because of the smoke. At the air tram restaurant we had some chicken wings and tried some poutine. After this meal we hiked back to the camping. The next morning we encountered an elk. To avoid confrontation we took a detour. Today we drove the most, all the way to Wellsgray Park. We stopped at Mount Robson and walked towards Lake Kinley. After we arrived close to Wellsgray Park, we did some groceries and got to our new camping. This day we went inside Wellsgray Park. It was a beautiful sunny day. We first saw the Helmken Falls, then we went to Ray Farm, and then we went to a stream where we saw a lot of salmon to get up higher upstream. On Clearwater Lake we canoed a bit. On the way back to our camping we saw Dawson Falls. This is a mini version of the Niagara Falls. On our way to Catch Creek, after a lot of green we went into a different environment. It was much more drier but still very beautiful. We stopped at the Creek Ranch, which is an old trading post in the gold rush time. After this stop we went further till we were at Lillooet and we arrived at a beautiful site. Whistler. We arrived early at the campsite. After we arrived, we walked to Whistler. This was the Olympic Village in 2010. It was very nice but also very made. Late in the afternoon we went on ziplining, it was really fun, and for dinner we had some hot dogs and then we went back to our camping. This was the second week of our trip in Canada. Next week we're gonna go to Vancouver Island.